Hey everybody. Okay, welcome to another mindful drawing tutorial. This picture has a very big name. I've called it Building Worlds because I felt like it. Just popped into my head. And it also has a strong meaning because whether you're creating a piece of art or you're creating a new version of yourself, new habits, new boundaries, or whether you're creating entire new worlds, the process is exactly the same. You have the idea first. You have the intention that you really want to do it. You create the action and you get the result. Also, just a heads up, this picture is popping in real life. The colors are really vibrant. They're really alive because they're neons, fluorescence. I don't really know what the difference is between the two actually. But that vibrancy doesn't translate through video. So on my tutorials, you actually can't see how vibrant these colors are. But don't let that stop you from drawing this picture, getting stuck into it and creating it yourself, because it really has a wow factor in real life. I'm going to run through the instructions, what you do with your brain, as well as the 4 principles of mindful drawing, which you learn at the mindful drawing table here in your practice, and you, through repetition, you download them into your subconscious mind and they become a new program that you function from out in the real world. What you do with your brain is the important part. When you mindfully draw, you put your full focus into what you are drawing. So the best line, the best circle, the best squiggle, the best colouring intersection that you can do, your full attention. So you're not letting your mind wander away into thoughts of yesterday, last week, regrets, what you're doing later, what you're making for dinner, worries that you might have that are either real or made up by your mind. And it's fine to have these because it's quite normal. It's what the brain does. But when you're mindfully drawing, every time your mind wanders into thought and away from the present moment and away from what you are drawing, bring it right back to attention. Bring it right back to focus on what you are drawing. And you just do that as many times as you need. In the beginning, you're probably going to have to do it a lot. I've been mindfully drawing for hundreds of hours and I still have to do it a lot. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Just every time your mind wanders into thought or anywhere but what you're drawing, bring your concentration, your full focus, and your attention right back to what you are drawing. That's it. Now I'm going to run through the 4 principles of mindful drawing. And the first one is do your best and let go of the rest. Whether you've drawn something bloody perfect or it's sloppy as all hell, once it's drawn, it's done. You can turn it into something else using creativity if you wish. If you don't wish, accept that it's done. Don't beat yourself up over it or say that's not good enough or I should have done better than that or that looks like shit. Let it go. Do your best and let go of the rest. You can realign with your best in the next second, in the next now. Focus on doing your best again and then let it go. And what happens here is when you practice this mantra through repetition, it becomes downloaded into your subconscious mind, but you'll soon find that you'll go out into the real world and you'll take it out there as well. It will become a new program that you function from, which is do your best at all times and just let go of the rest. Once it's done, accept it. Let it go. Move on, realign with your best, and do your best again. The second principle of mindful drawing is go slow and get into the flow. When you first sit down and start mindfully drawing, you want to do it fast. Many of us have wired our brains into functioning fast. We have very short attention spans. So we get bored easily. What we do in mindful drawing is we go slow and we get into the flow. And this is really hard in the beginning because you notice your hand speed up, and you, again, through focus and attention, have to bring your attention and the control of the mind right back to making yourself go slow and get into the flow. And what happens is, it's the same as with meditation. You do that thing for 5 or 10 minutes and the brain will start to entrain. So it will start to sync with the pace that you set for it. And you'll find yourself after 5 or 10 minutes in a really beautiful flow space where you're not fighting your brain's quickness anymore. The brain, your brain, has synced, is that even a word? Has synced with the pace that you have set for it. So your brain starts to slow down and you get into a rhythm and a flow space. And what this does is it becomes calming, peaceful, enjoyable, smooth, unbusy. But what it also does is when your brain is functioning at a slower pace, different things are able to get in. They're usually insights, little aha moments. They're usually little inspiration moments that you can't normally grasp because your brain is usually doing its fast thinking thing. Now, the third principle of mindful drawing is one of my favorites. It's one of the most powerful principles. And it's just recognizing that you are a powerful creator and you can create anything that you choose. Now, on this piece of paper, yes, this is a tutorial and I'm telling you, draw this thing here, draw this thing there. The point of tutorials is to teach you how to mindfully draw, to regain a little bit of confidence that you can draw, because a lot of people have lost that confidence. This is abstract, so there is no wrong. You can draw whatever you want, and it's perfectly right. And if you practice mindful drawing like I did for many hours, you're going to arrive at this conclusion yourself. What I'm doing with these principles is just cutting all of that middle time out and getting straight to the powerful points that really made a difference to me, which I got later on, maybe 50 hours in, 100 hours in, I'm not even really sure. But I'm giving these principles to you in the very beginning because they are really bloody powerful. They really are. And the third one, which is you are a powerful creator. You can create anything that you choose. We practice it here on paper while you're drawing through abstract, through what I mentioned before, which is just your intention. You decide you want to do it. Then moving your hand, creating an action, and then you see the results. You've created something from nothing but your desire to create it. And here in mindful drawing, you're going to see all of the, I will say, millions of ways that you can create. There is full potential on that piece of paper to create whatever you choose. You can draw a line in one of 30 colours, one of 50 thicknesses. You can put little tiny triangles on the edge of that line. You can put little circles. I use bigger circles with dots in the middle. That's one of my favourite. You can outline that in one of another 50 colours. You can draw a squiggle. You can rule it in a certain shape. You can take inspiration from a tree and draw things like tree roots and then connect them to another 1,000 different things that you can be inspired to grab from real life or from your imagination, from nothing. And there is no wrong. And what this shows you is that A, you've created something unique that very likely does not exist on the whole entire planet. From your imagination, from nothing but your will, your intention, and your action. That's creativity. We practice that here on paper, all the ways that you can use your imagination to create. There is no wrong. You repeatedly are in awareness that you can create from nothing. You are a powerful creator. You can create anything that you choose. And when you do that repeatedly, a new program becomes downloaded into your subconscious mind, and you don't have to think it consciously like, oh, I am a powerful creator. You know it. You know you are. It just doesn't apply to paper anymore. You practice it on yourself. You can create a new habit. You can create a new routine. You can create new ways of compassion and forgiving yourself when you fall off that horse and don't follow through with that new routine 50 times. It doesn't matter. What matters is the response that you create out of nothing and the action that you create again from nothing that comes after that. You can create new boundaries with your family, with your friends. You can create new hobbies, ways of recycling, of existing, of growing your own vegetables, of speaking or listening. Something that I'm trying to practice a little bit more is I'm trying to create better ways of listening to people. You know, we can create anything that we choose, and that's just in our own little lives. And then we realize that we can create collectively. This is the same blueprint for how we create a new way of living on earth, the exact same thing. It is seated right here in art and in your mindful drawing practice. And it sounds a little crazy that you can learn this here through mindful drawing, but it's not really about the drawing. I talk about this a lot. It's like meditation is not really about sitting on a cushion. It's about what you're programming yourself with. It's about what's going on inside your consciousness. We just happen to make these changes, and to power up in these ways, we use the vehicle of drawing to get there. And through experience, I tell you, it is very, very effective, which is why I'm teaching you how to do it too. Okay, and the last principle is another one of my favorites. It's teaching you to connect back with your intuition. And I'm not going to go on a rant as to why many of us in this culture that we live in have our intuition deactivated. If you don't use it, you lose it. It never goes away, but it's deactivated. And it is so bloody powerful. We need to get this beast back. We use our rational, logical thinking minds, and it's awesome. It does us great service when we use it correctly. But we are missing an entire superpower in our intuition. It sounds strange, like, but how do you get intuition from drawing? Well, we learn it again. It's about what's going on inside your brain and consciousness, and I'll explain. In mindful drawing, we have our 4 principles. We have do your best, let go of the rest, go slow, and get into the flow. And the third one, which is what we just discussed, is you're a powerful creator. Just an awareness as you're creating, the awareness of, holy smokes, there is no limit to what I can do here on paper. And there's no limit to taking that out into the real world and me doing it in my own life, and then us doing that collectively, globally. Same deal, same thing. And the last one is intuition. What we do here is we switch the brain off, and if you get a feeling of an intuitive nudge of, I want to do that thing, I want to create a triangle linked to a circle, linked to a thick black line with water patterns coming off it in 4 different blues with bubbles and little circles. And the brain says, no, that's going to look stupid. That's dumb. That's silly. Or I don't know how to do that. We don't do that here. Notice my stern voice. What we do here is we listen to our intuition. We grab that whisper and we honor it. And we say, I don't know where it's leading. I'm going down that path. I'm going to do it. And we get brave. And we draw using our hand and using our creativity, using our colours. And we draw the motions of trying to achieve that thing which the intuition is saying, draw that thing. We honor it. We're like, on it, doing it. And we watch the mind. If the intuition says do this thing. It sounds crazy, but whatever, just do it. I'm going down that path. Mind, step aside. And we go down that new path. And it's funny because it often, especially even in the first hour of a pattern forming, and I'm like, oh my God, this looks like shit. I'm just doing my best. And it forms into something far more interesting than what it would have been if I had have done something safe, or if I had have done something, decided by the mind, because the mind's like, but I know how to do this thing. We don't forge new paths by going down the same old road, by not having the guts to get off and try new things. This is where we learn to listen to our intuition, and it might be non-existent for a little while, but then it will pop in. And because I'm teaching you and I'm going to repeatedly teach you, when it pops in, we honor it. We're doing it. And then when you do it repeatedly, over and over and over and over, it becomes, again, I speak from experience and I tell you, you reprogram the way that you are to honor intuition just as much as you honor your rational mind. It becomes a part of you that is strong. It is always there. It just doesn't pop in at the mindful drawing table. It stays with you in your life. Once you plant that seed, water it, which is what we learn here, goes with you out into the real world. And it is so bloody awesome. There's a little section in here as well that I did the wrong thing. Again, I hate that word mistake. I hate the word wrong. I prefer to call them learning curves. But it's a section where I drew lines in the wrong direction. You'll see it. And I did it. And I knew that I'd done it wrong as soon as I'd done it. But it was done. It was drawn in pen. No erasing. It's done. I actually kicked myself and I'm like, oh my God, it looks stupid. And then the principle, do your best, which is what I did. Little learning curve, mistakes aside, whatever. Let go of the rest. Once it's done, I chose not to turn it into something else. I chose to leave it. I chose to accept it. And that's it. And it's really bloody liberating, honestly. It is just really freeing to be able to throw your hands in the air and say, fuck it. I am free of berating myself, telling myself off, putting myself down because I could have, should have done better. Why did I do that? It looks shit now. Freeing myself of that through conscious choice. I am choosing to let it go. Move on. I can realign with my best again, which is what I always do 1,000 times a day. And I fall out of alignment 1,000 times a day and I realign. Because this principle becomes programmed into your being. And that's really it. I'll just go over them again without the lengthy explanations. So, draw. Every time your mind wanders into thoughts or emotions, acknowledge it, see it, and then direct your attention and your focus right back to the now moment, right back to right here in the present moment, full focus on what you were drawing. That's it. Do your best and let go of the rest all the time, constantly. Every time that you feel like you screwed up a little bit, let it go. This will pop into your head because I'm going to repeatedly drill these principles into your head during my tutorials until they become part of the way that you exist, until they become a new program. They're a bloody good program, trust me. When they're at the mindful drawing table, great, useful, awesome. But when they're out there in the real world, wow, this is what is game changing. Go slow, get into the flow. Again, like I said, it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to battle your brain. And then your brain begins to entrain with the new pace that you have set. And then different things are able to start getting in. Awarenesses mostly, insights, just knowings. Not thoughts, knowings of different kinds. You'll see. You are a powerful creator. You can create anything that you choose. Just as you're creating, sitting in the awareness, as you're moving your hand and drawing and seeing a blank piece of paper fill with different shapes, different colors, different possibilities that you're creating from absolutely nothing. Just sitting in the awareness of you are a powerful creator. You can create anything that you choose. And I mean that. And intuition. As soon as something pops in and says, let's do a different shape. Let's do a different kind of line. Let's do a different geometric pattern. Do it. Don't let the mind in. The mind will pop in and say, ho, 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 and try and talk you out of it. It likes certainty. It likes knowing the results of things. Watch the mind and say, sorry, mind, we don't need you here. Thanks. Follow intuition. Honor intuition. Strengthen that little tiny seed. Water it. Through consistent practice, watch it grow. And all of these principles become part of your new way of being through repetition. Consistent practice. And then these new programs will begin to, you'll see them pop up all the time in your new way of being. And you watch the changes that you can create into bold new results in your own world. Watch where they can take you, because you are creating it. And I hope you really enjoyed that session. Keep drawing, keep at it, keep creating yourself. And I will see you again in our next tutorial, and I'm looking forward to it. Take care. Bye.